And welcome back if you're returning to the channel, or welcome if this is your first time on the channel. Today, we're going to be playing Shadow Empire. This is not the first time we've run Shadow Empire. This is not the first time we've run this DLC in Shadow Empire, which is, we're going to be running Shadow Empire, the Republica DLC. If this is your first time tuning into the channel, I am streaming this live to Twitch under the username WillCole, and I will be uploading the local recordings to YouTube under the username WillCole100. I am in the process of recording ahead a little bit to account for the fact that I will be out 2 weeks during the upcoming month. So there'll be quite a bit of a delay between when it gets recorded and uploaded to Twitch. Although I think I'm getting pretty close to being recorded far enough ahead that I might start to stop recording ahead, although we'll stay that far ahead at that point until the breaks happen. So today, it should be somewhat obvious. I think I've already said it. We're doing Shadow Empire. And the choice for what we're actually going to do, specifically in Shadow Empire, was put up to a poll on Reddit. So here up on the screen should be the poll results. We had 225 votes on the Shadow Empire Reddit. And roughly in that order, I put them up on the thing. I think that was actually the exact order here. Autocracy and Aristocracy. The A's came in tied for last. Meritocracy came in third, Syndicate Democracy came in second, and Fist-led Spoiled Democracy came in first. Apparently, when you offer people the vote on how they would like to see the game governed, apparently democracy wins. Give people democracy and they vote for democracy, apparently. But yeah, the very special Fist-Militia-led Spoiled Democracy has been the one that has won the poll. So we're going to put that away, because we don't need to be looking at the poll. We just need to know what won. It's probably a good way to think about it. So with that, we obviously are starting a new game. So we'll get initialized up here. I didn't necessarily put anything specifically in for planet shape, although I'm going to do a bigger planet so that we've got time to actually spend in our government type of choice. Specifically with Spoiled Democracy, we want to be picking up the 4th and 5th feats. So we need to get to Spoiled Democracy, and then we need to stay there for... forget how many turns it was. I looked it up in the manual. I know they get 6. It's something like 92 turns minimum, and then it's random after that point. So we're gonna need to play for quite a while to actually get all the feats we want. So to facilitate that, we're going large. We're going a large world here, and I think the last one was actually in Siwa, although it was a very Limos style Siwa. It's pretty boring Siwa. But yeah, I think we're going to go, for this large, super large, I think we're going to go Borealis, which isn't necessarily going to be that interesting. It's going to be sort of Seth Class-ish. But it's cold enough that we'll probably have some ice at both ends, is how this will basically play out. The other one I was potentially thinking about that I've set it against is Morgana. Don't necessarily want to deal with the alien life here. Okay, Borealis, keep it simple. I'm not going to turn Haven to Calm or Severe Violence on. I have played those on in the past. I'm not going to necessarily break up the factions more. So we'll just keep it fairly boring, just spread out on for this one. Going to focus mostly on trying to play into the new government mechanics. I'm going to turn the story modules back on. Detailed planet generation, going to run by complete fog of war. This is only me. City-state start. Militia only. Not going to give the AI an advantage by giving them an army that we just disbanded early on. Politics difficulty is going to be regular. Tech 3 tech start. Air Force is enabled. Advanced politics. We're going to turn the game speed, or the development speed, down to slow. Organization level, we're going to start with only the Supreme Command Council. And I'm going to turn the difficulty back up to hard. So it'll be a little bit harder than... well, it should be a lot harder than the last one. The planet's bigger and we're running on a harder difficulty. So it's more times for the AI to sort of get out of control. That's going to be our generation settings. I'm going to give that reroll. That looks a little colder than I want. I'm looking for something between... yeah, that'll work. Something between 30 and -10 is what I was looking for. So -27. This won't all be frozen, but it'll probably only be warm enough around the equator for it not to be cold. And yeah, as you can see, In the tropics, regardless of season, it'll be about just above freezing. And then obviously the ice caps are going to be, the Arctic and Antarctic ice caps are going to be pretty frozen all the time. So in the middle it'll be reasonably warm. The really high temperature one we got probably would have almost been warmer on the caps, which didn't want. Although I'm going to re-roll this a couple times, we're going to see if we can get a little bit of mountains. I find it breaks up the endless plains if you give them a little bit of mounting to the map. I'm not too worried if we don't have any ocean. Yeah, we'll roll with that. 13% mountains, no ocean. Very little rainfall. So, toxic atmos. So people can't breathe it, which makes sense. It's more CO2 than oxygen. Like, there's no oxygen in the atmosphere. The atmospheric pressures may be a little low. That just means it probably won't be a particularly great planet for planes. And then I'm going to re-roll this one a couple times. I want to get something, because this is a big planet. We want to have fairly high population, otherwise we're going to be a bit short on ruins to have interesting ruin interactions. Oh, that one might have worked. That was 1.2 billion. Okay, 1.6 billion. We'll roll that. 28 zones. And that 1.6 billion collapses to how many? Find out in a moment as soon as the dissolution war calculates. 3 million. Yeah, pretty heavy population decline. Fairly small history bar here. Giant unmanned spacecraft crashed into a region. Place got nuked. Standard dissolution war stuff. So we're on Ocylon Secundus, so presumably the second planet in the solar system of presumably Ocylon star. No alien biology present. Oh, actually, the atmosphere is not too bad in comparison to the gravity. It's a pretty low gravity world. Let's get into the game world. Zephylus Confederation. Sure, we'll run a Zephylus Confederation. The title of president. We are planning democracy. That works out well. That's even a reasonable symbol for sort of a spoiled democracy, let's say. I'm going to plan on running, obviously, democracy, because we're going spoiled democracy. Enforcement Fist. You could probably run commerce on this as well, but I'm going to run enforcement because I think it's a little bit more interesting to me. And then Fist here. And then democracy. If we want a democracy, we've got to pick democracy. Zephylus Confederation, round 1. We have 4 decisions awaiting us here on the first turn. Previous president is now buried. Ashes to ashes, dust to dust. It's now up to us to lead the Confederation to victory. Some subjects cheer ascension, but not all. You will have to hail and address the Confederation as soon as possible. And it's a time of bureaucracy to start off. That's good to see. Ascension speech. Calculating, logical, strong, but caring are hard and merciless. What kind of leader will our Confederation will you show yourself to be in your speech? Hard and merciless.
Copy that.
New organization. We're going to come back to this one. It depends upon what our neighbors are. Because we're going enforcement, the Interior Council may be very useful for generating money early on. Eco is always a good choice. Military is a decent choice depending on what you got. Often I tend to prefer economic unless I think I'm going to be very heavily pressed. Depending on your neighbors, foreign affairs works reasonably well. Souring on actually doing model council early, but those are usually the first 4 to 5 that you pick. zone, so we can immediately level up the zone for 10 political power. I'm actually going to hit Ask Me Later here, because as you can see, that's so much of our political power, and I've got things I need political power for, so we're going to have to kick that down the road. That's a good thing to do. We're going to want to do it at some point, just not yet. And one of our neighbors is Guardians, and they're willing to sell some technology. We'll return to this. We want to take a look at our borders before we really settle in too hard. Okay, so we've got Northwest minor culture, East minor culture, South territory, and we're on a nice ruin to start. Okay, so 2 minor cultures. And we know one of these is Guardians. Makes it a little tempting to try to do diplomacy early on. And then we got territory to the south. The alternative, if I'm not going to do diplomacy early on, is again go for in profile. Go for enforcement. Go for the Interior Council early so we can get some money going quickly. That would be the logic there with going that. Starting cards, we got a junior, we got militia loss of faith. We're going to militia democracy, so that goes in the dumpster. We're not taking that. Junior, we got Church of the Syndicate as our cult in our starting city. Labor Day, Gladiators, Cultural Integrator. Okay, so not a lot of cards here to start with. Gladiator's probably the one to play right now. Well, this, our Gladiator is, I think it's... No, this is a city park, not a hex park. Okay. Well, this one's easy. I've got the money. We pay for the tech. So we got sealed roads discovered immediately. That is a massive find for early expansion. So the question here is, do I double down on diplomacy, go foreign affairs? How many other majors do we have in this game? 6 other. And we are, in fact, the weakest of the 6, which for early on here is probably a good thing. That means our virtue is going to be stable. In fact, our virtue, if anything, is right now is a little too stable. A little too stable. Because we want to be spoiled democracy, so being a virtuous democracy is a little bit too good. And then in possible laws, I want to pass the militia ones. Probably starting with the hardest to pass ones. So probably start with the militia one. Militia texture one. But this is going to cost, to propose, is going to cost us 20 political power. That's one of the reasons we want to hoard our political power a little early on here. I'm going to delay the diplomat. I think the diplomat's a very strong choice here. Economics is always a strong choice. This is definitely not a situation where I'd be tempted to do military. I think we can delay on military. But I'm going to do the Interior Council because I want to get my reliable source of money. Because we don't necessarily want to integrate those Guardians anytime soon. Because they can keep giving us techs. Discovery techs. Yeah, I'm going to go Interior Council.
Copy that.
Not the usual meta choice. Okay, the territory to the south is probably the one I'm most interested in figuring out what it is. Sadly, we have no covert cards, and I don't think I need any leaders right now. Personnel. Do I have an unemployed leader? I have at least one unemployed leader, and the unemployed leader is actually pretty decent. Where's the ire of the neighbors a little bit. Because I don't know which one of these is the Guardian. I'd like to know which one is the Guardian, to be fair. Yeah, we're going to try to take and hold about that. I just want that hex and that hex, otherwise we're good here. Because I got two people I want to kind of do diplomacy with, we're not really going to be expanding very early on, only trying to keep the territory from screwing with us too much. So I don't need to nationalize the transport hub, which is usually something I recommend you do fairly early on. Because I don't need the logistics to run that far away from the HQ. Okay, well, given my lack of choices right now, we're going to cycle the turn. See if we can get some more information on the neighbors. And hopefully learn that our choice of internal council here was not the wrong choice. Because that could be very easily the wrong choice. Now, I do have the awkward state if I'm planning on running Fist, but I want to do diplomacy with my neighbors. So we're definitely going to get decisions every once in a while that we're going to be like, I want to do this option for a profile, this option for, you know, pragmatic reasons. Okay, so a couple galactic tanks. There's our first pack of government cards. Change the budget. Mediation training. Prosperity divided. And public praise. Okay. Oh, you got a spy card. What do we know? Minor regime. We don't know what the territory is. Actually, first, let's check our decisions. Able commander offering services. Liberate his home village. 196,39 within 7 turns. So that's a escapade off to the east. Off to there. Not knowing who this minor regime is, I am not going to agree to that. We're going to say no. We also don't really care about mining government, or mining commerce, or commerce and government. We're just Roger that. National budget. We'll come back to that. New director for the Interior Council. We've got one choice. He's a cap 3, so he could be worse. Could be worse. Now, this is a int-based job, so his int being low is pretty bad. But he's what we got, so yes, he gets the job. Roger that, sir. What is our default start tax rate on here on hard difficulty? I think it got tuned up for Republica. We're not getting 0. Oh no, we got 0 income tax. Okay, so we want some tax cards early on here. I'm gonna probably dumpster tariffs down to like 1%. And then we'll run like 33 for the other ones.
Yes, sir. Roger that, sir.
Zone decision requests a donation. Well, we do believe in democracy. Don't necessarily believe in government, but we believe in democracy.
Roger that.
There goes the treasury, so I'm gonna have to sell something. And yeah, this is probably an appropriate balance for Supreme Command versus Interior. So we'll accept that. Current size of the militia is larger than their maximum size, so they're not going to be growing. Let's try to trade away from the resources we're making. I don't need the metal right now. I don't need the oil right now. Probably be kicking myself later when I do want those things, but they have value. Let's sell. Most profitable thing I can sell is actually the rares. Sell the rares off.
Roger that.
Get 150. You know, I'll sell the 100-something metal as well. Another 100-something. I'm going to sell like 40 fuel.
Roger that.
That's what I'm willing to do for the moment. gives us decent treasury. Once we get the Interior Council going and enough enforcement, that we get efficiency goals unlocked, we can get money from efficiency drive, and we'll have to stop basically looting the treasury, or looting the resource treasury every time we need to balance the budget. Covert ops. Okay, so covert ops, we're gonna play that to try to detect who we got to the south. I want to know what the neighbor is, who/what the neighbor is. And then I think I need to save it more political power. So it's 20 to bring it up, and I think I need like another 20 to force it through, if we have resistance in the election, in the law election, law vote. So we cycle the turn. Whoop. I should have put more people on the western border. I was vaguely happy with what the borders were, and I should have rearranged the guys a little bit more. Round 3, we got 72 reports. No decisions. Income tax increase, okay. So we don't know who they are, we don't know who they are. We know that they're surviving AI. Okay, so as long as we're technologically backwards, South is safe. That's not going to last... Oh, that's a Hellraiser. Sure, if they go for the capital, they can take a nuke to the face. Yeah, as long as we're technologically backwards, the South is safe. Gold rifles. Okay, so these look like normal rifles. So this is probably like a Republic to the northwest, and this is probably my my Guardians. But I paid attention to who actually gave us the decision for selling us the stuff. So I paid attention to who gave us that. I think it's the Maximum Federation, not the Western one. Yeah, if we're patient here enough, they'll probably give us the territory back. And/or I'll have to negotiate peace. This proximity is probably causing some damage. Yeah, plus 20 points damage to danger. Danger goes up. Increase the income tax. Success. There we go. Now we got income tax. We'll have to wait until next turn to see how much of the profit that generates. I don't suspect it's going to be a lot. And I've now got 40 political power, so we're going to attempt to pass our first law. Possible laws. Militia. I probably don't need help to get the militia benefits through right now. We've got enough intent behind it to pass that one. Militia benefits and regular force limitations both double the maximum militia size, as long as it gets more troops out. Oh, and that one's probably gonna stay easy, if not get easier, because we're gonna be winning enforcement. Art, commerce, mind. Okay. So mine's the one I'm going to have to spend the most effort to push through. Let's take benefits for the moment. Benefits looks like we're not going to have to push. I'm going to propose call to enact a vote on militia benefits.
Copy that.
Early next round. Okay. Cycling the turn. Let's see, if we're careful and slowly moving towards them, we can kind of encourage them to go back into their territory. We can see the surviving AI is up on our border, although we're Tech 3, they'll probably leave us alone. We have 2 decisions. Round 4. Gained discipline. Gained open contact. Oh, that's major diplomacy, so we got spy. Okay. So, we got enact militia benefit law. We got 3 votes against, 97 in favor. So this is going to pass. Parliament is holding vote whether to enact the militia benefits law. Militia members and their families receive preferential treatment with this law. Double maximum size, militia-based morale, militancy up. It's going to cost us some bureaucracy. I can lean back and just let this happen, because the larger of the 2 parties, the humanist school, is in favor of it. I would need strong influence, so well, actually 40 political power, to force the reformists to vote for it. So we're just going to lean back and let it happen.
Copy that.
So just lean back and see what the vote has changed. Militia +3, democracy +2. Secretary is now calling the Parliament to vote with enact militia benefit laws. The law was enacted, 95 votes in favor, 5 votes against. Guardians offer technology. Okay, so I'd like to have enough money to give them that money. Oh, that's high, man. That's where the real vehicles don't want to go in. So I need 70 money. What do I got to sell? Rare earths. Push those out the door. And like
Roger that.
50 credits. Food's trading up. I could push the food out the door. That's only going to be about 50 credits. Honestly, I don't think there's enough on the market to get to where I want, right? So we're looking... Oh, yeah, no. 150 credits is not enough to close the gap. So unless I got a card that's going to give me more money, and I think the answer to that is no. We're going to have to tell them no, which I really don't want to do. Yeah, we're going to have to tell them no.
Roger that.
And the reason I don't want to tell them no is it's lowering the relations. Yeah, that's Max Federation. So the Northeast is our Guardians. And in fact, Oh! Orthed Vassal. Okay, so that's concerning. So that tells me they have a neighbor. And that neighbor is a major. And that major is well, first of all, friendly major, but not friendly necessarily to us. So that is bad. We're going to have to move on the guys to the west. On the other hand, we did just double the... Oh, I think the 2x hasn't, the max size hasn't kicked in yet, but next turn we should see the max size of the militia go up significantly. Okay, we're going to cycle the turn. But yeah, our neighbors to the west are already protected by someone. So weirdly, this is actually a situation where I kind of need the subject, I think, to declare on me. Because if I declare on the subject, they'll bring their major. We haven't contacted the major, so I'm not actually sure how well that would work. But, oh, now we've got the Guardians disagreeing with our borders. This is the problem sometimes you get into with militia-heavy starts, is I don't want to raise professional troops, because that'll suppress the militia. We have 2 decisions. Policy speech. Victory points at a certain level. Average security.
Copy that.
Goes on the enforcement points. They can mask off for democracy. So, easy decisions. Anyway, we did have the doubling on maximum militia size, so we should see new militia units rise shortly. Same time, let's go in. It's time for another law. Possible laws. Could probably do with more size, honestly. So we're going to try to pass regular forces limitation law. 20 to pass a law, but there is apparently a incremental increase in cost to call the votes. The more recently you've passed a law. Okay, so I gotta wait more. I gotta wait more time. On average, every 5 rounds, a new law will be proposed. Yeah, so I think I just gotta wait a little bit longer before we attempt again. Okay, I'm regretting not going with democracy, or not with the Foreign Affairs Council. Already lost the opportunity to subject the person to the west. Although that is what it... to be fair, that was pretty quick, so it would have been hard to do it ourselves.
Yes, sir. Roger that, sir.
Yep, 2 reasonable military guy. Seems reasonable, and we're going to go ahead and raise a independent, or not, OHQ brigade of infantry in the capital. So they need more body blocking troops. And we're going to cycle turn. So that's more military than I want professional-wise, but our very squished starting territory is squished, and I like some of it back. Yeah, you can see from the surviving AI, we're not technologically advanced to even register to the surviving AI as a threat, but that also just means they won't attack us. Not that they won't, you know, violate our borders. Round 6, we got 2 decisions. Got an offer protection card. Trying to do an offer protection face first into someone is pretty hard. Yeah, only getting +7 on it is pretty bad. So, not possible against that target. And that one already has a master. And the surviving AI will not agree to that sort of stuff. Safety protocols. Well, we want enforcement, so close the festival immediately.
Roger that.
New commander? Yeah, that's why we hired him. The presence of our army is already reducing our militancy, which is not great. Okay, better barrier around the exterior there to keep guys away. Let's increase the sales tax.
Yes, sir. Roger that, sir.
Yeah, I think, given the current situation, I want to get my laws passed as soon as I can afford to pass them. 76, yeah. So every turn since our last proposal, it's going to get cheaper. And again, I probably want to keep at least 20 on hand, if not more than 20 political power, surplus after calling the vote, in case I need to sway the vote. Round 7, we suffer no losses nor made any kills. We have 1 decision. Income tax. I think I need the income tax to go up again. Try to encourage it to go south instead of back through our... Go south and leave. Workers are being harassed. Well, I don't want autocracy, I don't want meritocracy, so we're gonna say we're gonna do
Roger
nothing.
that.
So I can check up on how is the treasury looking. We're making positive revenue. Good to see. $68 political power. It's gonna take a little bit of effort to get that through. Get our replacements out to our existing units. Increase due to high loyalty, increase due to militia laws, reduce due to existence of regular military forces. Okay. Although we've got high unrest and pretty high zone danger at this point, which isn't great. And we cycle the turn again. One thing I might do is I got a decent amount of power. I might set up a government bureaucracy. We got attacked by the Sentinels. I suppose the Sentinels might not have the best of recon. They might have accidentally attacked us. We have 2 decisions. Yeah, so that wasn't declaration order, so it was the Sentinels probably failed their recon roll and walked straight into us. Militancy is holding stable. Troop count went up by... Oh, we got a new one deployed down here. Like, where did the new unit show up? Here, it showed up here. National budget, orgs, okay. So, if I want to do diplomacy, and productively speaking, it needs to be done now. The Foreign Affairs Council. And that seems like a reasonable balance. Just confirm that. We're going to need someone to lead up like a new council, so we'll take that junior. Decent counselor for the thing. We'll see if we might also have someone else move from a different job, and we'll have them backfill with this guy if that's the case. In the meantime, we've got 30 power. We're not... Well, we're using 10 of it for the high command. I'm going to go... And we're going to get a bureaucratic office online for
Roger that.
more bureaucracy. And kind of flying through turns here just because we're kind of trying not to build an army to take over the world, but rather have the voluntarism of society fulfill that need. And that doesn't generate an army particularly fast. And trying not to get the militia overwhelmed is also another thing kind of going on here. Because I could be fighting everyone, but then the militia would be getting chewed up so badly. Round 9. We have 3 decisions. Okay, more militia coming to the woodworks. So yeah, if we want the militia to keep growing, I'm going to be needing to get another max size increase from laws. Public-private partnerships law. We got 3 against, 97 in favor. What's actually... Let's look at the law info here. Commerce Heart. Okay, so this is not really a law that we want. But at the same time, it's not what I'm really opposed to. Private economy boost temporarily in exchange for the public economy being balanced is not too bad. Yeah, we'll lean back, we'll let this happen. I don't have too many laws for this to be a real big problem.
Copy that.
New Director for Foreign Affairs Council. Yeah, this is the reserve pool guy. No one else is being proposed. The person we put into the other council might actually technically be... We might technically want them the other way around. Because this guy would be better as foreign interior, and the other guy would be better as exterior. If that makes sense. Our interior counselor here has better charisma. In fact, that's so much the case, I'm going to call you up.
Standing by for orders.
Yes, sir. Roger that, sir.
Sir, are you sure you want to relieve me of duty? Yes, I have another job for you.
Yes, sir. Roger that, sir.
Hope the new job will be promotion, sir. Kind of a side grade. You're about as high as you can go in the administrative structure at the moment. There we go. So there's the guy we want to promote to that job. He's got 39 charisma.
Yes, sir. Roger that, sir.
And then we want the other guy actually to take over the job he just left. Minor versus major. We got 2 minors we want to sort of interact with right now.
Roger that, sir.
Okay, so now that we've got a director of the foreign affairs, we get a bonus on the roll. Alpha production here is still a little too hard for him. Fresh on the job. He hasn't picked up any skill after all. And we can buff him up to 90 something, but we need 130, so we need to get another bonus somewhere. Or lower the difficulty by another method. That's actually about the border I want, so that works. At some point, we're going to want to actually start some of these farmers because they have... Oh no, they're already at war with someone. So yeah, we're going to want to start someone with them, but I've got other priorities. I need to secure the south border against the AI. I need to get peace with the Guardians to the east. And then these guys presumably got at war with whatever major is next to them. Because apparently the AI diplomacy is not perfect. As they declared war on their own subject. You were delayed by half a turn, but that'll work. Yeah, things aren't too bad. Okay. And then the next law that we want... probably want the limitations law for the double size again. Second double size doubling. I could push it right now, but if we don't have the vote in favor, I'm gonna have to apply political power to get it to go our way. Which is an extra 20, I won't be able to afford an extra 20, so we gotta wait at least a turn. Round 10, who's ever no losses, no remaining kills. We have 2 decisions. Construction of a bureaucratic office is complete. This is the guy we want to be the director of the interior, so we just accept
Yes, sir.
the one and only choice. We have the people to level up, so there's an argument to level up. I'm still gonna say no here because I want to spend that political power on other stuff. Don't have the diplomacy card we want yet, which is peace with the Northeast, so I can free up the troops from over there. And yes, right now we've got a OHQ doing the garrison duty on the capital, which is not the best garrison, but it works for the moment. Okay, militancy is stable. That's good to see. Rest is coming down. Danger's diminishing. Hopefully we can get people happier again. Let's attempt to go for another law pass. Possible. Militia. Actually, there's enough favoring on militia funding. Although, I should probably go for ones that are people aren't in support of right away. There's enough support to this one, I can probably get this one to pass without having to prod. But that's also an argument to doing it later. Yeah, we're gonna go for this one. This one I'm gonna have to prod. So I'm gonna pull a vote on it, and I'm expecting I'm gonna have to pay 20 political power to push it through. Although, pushing it through is gonna double the militia again. Another 20,000 soldiers to guard the border is gonna be nice. And the bureaucracy is expanding. I'm definitely at the point where I want more councils. I want the economic council up. And probably the military council, and probably the model designer. I want all the things. We want all the toys. I'm not too worried about the surviving AI going over the mountain. It's enough of a maneuver penalty that they probably won't just go rolling across the mountain. That's why I'm leaving that hole in particular. In our hexagon of territory you want to keep people out of. Round 11, we got 2 decisions. Leader investment, international event, and civic reward. Okay. Unification, a little bit earlier than we need. We need the make peace before unification. Okay, so right now it's going to be a failed vote. Because the expectation is we're going to get 3 votes for, 97 against. It'll be a little bit less definitive than that because there's a little bit of randomness on the 97 against. But sway effort requirement is influence. I think we can just get away with the influence to get this pass because they're not very opposed. I think I kind of overcome that with just the influence in favor.
Copy that.
Change militia +5. It also costs us 20 political power. 2d20 influence roll results in a +25 intent. Your influence operation resulted in a -3 word score, so using up our goodwill. Calling the vote 92 in favor, 8 against. There we go. Minor workers strike. We're a democracy.
Roger
We pay the
that.
workers off. Yep, and that militia dropped probably in the hole in the line, which actually works out well for me. That works well. Anyway, offer protection. Can't do that because they're at war, and I can get this up to 90, but 191 versus 239 is not a passing roll. So no point even attempting to roll that yet. I suppose I was trying to train our Foreign Affairs Counselor. We could roll that on the surviving AI, knowing it would fail. But just to get him a roll, so we get some XP from it. We're not that desperate. Not that desperate. Okay. And yeah, word score isn't doing super great. We got a demand to raise security, which might happen via RNG. RNG might give that to me. Don't think Gladiator. I think Gladiators is entertainment. Gladiators is entertainment. Although this one I got pretty good control over zone. Let's drop the Gladiators in. Find that out. Find that out together. Yeah, 100 qual entertainment. We got entertainment. Hopefully our zone, or we got entertainment and health. So hopefully our zone picks security next, so we can pass our one demand to get some word score back. I got 6 rounds for that to happen, so that's not super fast. If I can negotiate peace with the Guardians, then we can focus our forces on moving towards the people we know that are at war with another major. Which is northwest. Basically run up that road. Oh, I think we found another Galactic Republic unit, apparently. Round 12, we have 1 decision. Religious Mayhem. That's probably the decision. Offer protection again. Proposed peace. Proposed peace we can do. That's good. Religious Mayhem, yeah, you have my priority with trying to mitigate the Religious Mayhem.
Roger that.
And success, okay. Minor, proposed peace. Northeast. This is an oratory roll, so I can't boost him with the diplomat. We'll play it anyway. Success. Not a critical success, just a normal success. But now we've got a secure northwest border. That is good. Okay, so we got another territory to the north. Let's embed some spies in there to figure out what sort of territory that is. Apparently I need to do that next turn. Okay. I don't have enough recon to send in the recon. Looks like our Director of Foreign Affairs is really low opinion. Yeah. Let's stick a medal to his chest. For negotiating peace. Yeah, we'll take a roll. I'm trying to boost his opinion. Oh, +1 opinion. Could have been worse. Yeah. So with that, I need to just keep the border, southern border against the robots. The rest of our forces can sort of run west towards the farmers until the farmers get grumpy. And how's the victory progress? I'm probably heavily losing. Yeah, we're in last. Doesn't surprise me. We've been sort of balled up in the starting area for a while here. Treasury, I think, is still looking good. Oh, we're actually spending more than we're paying. Yeah, we're generating. Although that's not worrying to some degree. That's 20 a turn. 20 a turn. How goes getting feats? I really don't pay too much attention. Okay, so we've got a 4% chance to get an efficiency goal a turn. Efficiency goal does give us access to efficiency drive, which is how we're going to get well, most of our money. Probably too early. I want virtue to go down. What's going on? We're doing so badly that the virtue's going up. Okay, game. But yeah, we'll probably go for the funding law next, the extra militancy score, so I don't have to worry too worried about having our army about. And then we'll have to really save up to push through the last one. The last one, we're probably going to have to do a major push, so we need like 60 political power to push it through. Surplus over getting the law up to a vote. And I suppose, can I push to have a law come to vote if I want to get rid of a law? Yes. Same sort of cost. Yeah, I think things are good for the moment. Let's cycle the turn. Looking at the time, I think this is probably where we're going to put the first part break in of the run at the end of this end turn here. So we're going to see how the neighbors move about. And then we'll bring this recording portion to a close. It's been an interesting start. We've gone and secured sort of the initial borders pretty well here. Without really having to pay a cost in blood for it, which is also good to see. Although we're going to start bleeding, probably going west against the farmers. We're still low enough tech that the robots, other than being an annoyance, are going to leave us alone. We do need to lose sort of a border to control the roads, because the robots are going to just wander. But we're not high enough tech yet, they're not going to come to murder us. On the other hand, we might not stay that way for very long. We're waiting for the next council to come up. Once we get equal council, the bureaucracy is going to start to flow into research, and to get them pissed off, I think we only need to get to tech level 4 or 5. Doesn't take very much. But yeah, if you're watching on YouTube, I hope you have been enjoying. There'll be another part up tomorrow. Again, as sort of a side effect of recording ahead for travel, there's going to be a fairly large offset between when this is recorded live and when this is going to be posted to YouTube. So sorry about that delay. If you're watching later, or if you're watching now on Twitch, I'm just going to be taking a short break here so I can get up, stretch the legs, sip some tea, and then we'll be back to record about another 50 to hour-long portion before the next break. So with that, I'm going to wish you all the best of luck and a good time. Catch you all in the next part and/or stream, and we'll pick it up next time in round 13. Bye for now.